Good afternoon, Mishpacha and Havarim, and all who join me here on this glorious day gifted to us by our Father, Abba Yahweh. Before we start, let's bow our hearts. Dearest Abba Yahweh, we come before you to worship you, to praise you, and to thank you for this fellowship in the Word with you. I ask most humbly to please open up our eyes, our ears, and our hearts, Father, causing us to see, hear, and understand things that we've not noticed before in these words. As we give this fellowship over to you, Abba Yahweh, thanking you for giving us your word to deliver. Through Yeshua, in Yahweh, we pray. Yahweh our Kodesh Elohim, Yahweh Echad, Yahweh is one. Amen. I asked Abba to guide me to a reading the other day and feel very compelled to share Lamentations with you after reading it. And before reading it, that's why I read it. This is a book I knew nothing about at all, until 2 days ago when I realised the reader was praying or petitioning Yahweh. That was funny. That was nothing like anybody'd ever mentioned to me before. It reads as a passionate expression of grief and sorrow. It was traditionally ascribed to the prophet Jeremiah. It's made up of 5 poems, or lamenting over the destruction of Judah, Jerusalem, and the temple by the Babylonians in 586 BC, a date that keeps cropping up lately, probably dated to the exile that followed. Just a note, when the early Christian church father Jerome translated the Bible into Latin, he added a note claiming Jeremiah as the author, although there is no mention of the author in these Lamentations. I've checked, and I went through it a second time just to check, and I couldn't find anybody. But Jeremiah was alive and present for both events. We know that from history. The author or poet does end up acknowledging that his suffering is just a punishment, and affirms that he has confidence that the mercies of Yahweh never end, but are new every morning, like cycles and chances that give hope. Okay, that's what I wanted to say about it. Got a little otiote study, but I think I'm just going to read the chapter, Ikar, or Lamentations. Ikar is what the otiote little study is on. I'm just going to read part 1. So, verse 1. How alone she sits, the city, once great with people, like a widow she has become. One great among the nations, a princess among provinces, has become a slave. She weeps bitterly at night, and her tears are upon her cheeks. Among all her lovers, there is no comforter for her, the comforter, the Ruach HaKodesh. All her friends have betrayed her. They have become her enemies. Yehudah has gone into exile because of affliction and because of harsh labor. She has dwelt among Gentiles. She had found no rest. All her pursuers have overtaken her between narrow places. The ways to Sion mourn, for no one comes to the appointed times. All her gates are deserted. Her Kohanim sigh. Her maidens are afflicted, and she has bitterness. Her adversaries have become chief. Her enemies have become at ease, for Yahweh has afflicted her. Because of her enemies, because of her many transgressions, her children have gone into captivity before the enemy, and all the splendor has departed. From the daughter of Sion, her rulers have become like a buck. They have found no pasture, and they go powerless before the pursuer. In the days of her affliction and wandering, Yerushalayim remembered all her pleasantries she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, with no one to keep her, to help her. The adversaries saw her. They mocked at her destruction. Yerushalayim has sinned greatly. Therefore she has become defiled. All who esteemed her despised her, because they have seen her nakedness. She herself has sighed and turned away. Her uncleanness is in her skirts. She did not keep in mind her latter end, and has gone down appallingly. There was no one to comfort her. See, O Yahweh, my affliction. For the enemy has made himself great. The adversary has spread his hand over all her pleasantries. Indeed, she has seen. The Gentiles have entered her Mikdash, those whom you commanded not to enter your assembly. All her people are sighing, seeking bread. They have given their pleasantries for food to bring back life. See, O Yahweh, and look, for I have become despised. It is naught to you, all you who pass by. Look and see if there is any pain like my pain, which has been brought on me, which Yahweh has inflicted on me in the day of his burning displeasure. From above he has sent fire into my bones, and it overpowered them. He has spread a net for my feet and turned me back. He has laid me waste and faint all the day. The yoke of my transgressions has been bound by his hand, woven together and thrust upon my neck. He has made my strength stumble. Yahweh has given me into hands, which I am unable to withstand. Yahweh has trodden down all my strong men in the midst. He has called an appointed time against me to crush my young men. Yahweh has trodden down, as in a winepress, the maiden daughters of Yahudah. This is why I weep. My eye is running down with water, because the Comforter who could bring back my life has been far from me. My children are stunned, for the enemy has prevailed. Sion spreads out her hands. There is no comforter for her. Yahweh has commanded concerning Yaakov. His neighbors are his adversaries. Yerushalayim has become an uncleanness among them. Yahweh is righteous, for I rebelled against his mouth. Hear now, all peoples, and see my pain. My maidens and my young men have gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My Kohanim and my elders breathed their last in the city, while they sought food to bring back their life. See, O Yahweh, that I am in distress. My inward parts are boiling up. My heart is overturned within me, for I have been very rebellious. From without the sword has bereaved. At home it is like death. They have heard that I sighed, with no one to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my calamity. They have rejoiced that you have done it. You shall bring on the day that you have announced. So let them become like me. Let all their evil come before you, and do to them as you have done to me. For all my transgressions, for my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Amen. Isn't that wonderful? Bless him. He's pouring his heart out. Okay, so I've made this little card. I'll show you quickly. This card here, Ekar, or Aikaho. I don't know how to say that. It's very foreign to me. But I understand what the Hebrew letters look like and what they translate to. An aleph, a yod, a kaf, and a war. Okay, back to the cat on the path. The word is Lamentations. It means howl or alas. First of all, in the otiote, we have an ox head. Headship, the leader, number one. The strength and power. Who we are yoked to and led by. The Abba, Father Yahweh. That's who we should be aiming to be led by. That's who we were made to be led by. Okay, so next is the arm and the hand. Our works and actions reveals and points out who or what we are aiming at in life, I suppose. And then an open palm, bendable, changeable, open, accepting. And then a man with raised arms, worship and praise. Behold, as in awe of, and giving all up to above. That's what it looks like to me. So, inside the word is the yod and the kaf. The yod is the grief and pouring out of heartfelt reflection as a work, and the action of lamenting along. Along with kaf, just thinking, being open and accepting, being bendable to the will of our Creator, able to change. Brought about by being yoked to Abba Yahweh, to truth and righteousness. Our power and strength drawn from within, coupled with the hay of our works in the knowledge of His completeness and our own lack of it. So, a lamentation kind of means, to me, when I look at this and sit and meditate with these oats, a lamentation takes us on a journey of, or in or through our mindset, our unseen knowing of His perfection petitions Him with truth, like a release that completes in understanding and resignation to what is, through the pouring out of what? His heart, earnestly, I suppose. He's just pouring out his heart, saying what he thinks. My comment is, isn't that a prayer? It's like a prayer, isn't it? It's interesting, they call it a poem. Anyway, thank you for listening. As soon as I get compelled to do it, I'll do part 2 of Lamentations. Thank you for joining me. And thanking Yeshua HaMashiach, the Ruach HaKodesh, and Abba Yahweh for bringing us here to learn from this. I hope it's been a berakah for all of you. Thank you for joining me. Yarei Yahweh. Amen.